Okay, let's get started. This is our 10th community call, and we can't believe it's been 10 weeks since we started doing this. And it sure has been a long 10 weeks in crypto world, given everything that's been going on lately. And we're looking at strong resistance from Bitcoin price today at about 28,970. That's about 4% up from the exact time a week ago. And Ethereum is cruising along 1,900 US dollars. That's about 2% higher than 7 days ago. So it seems like the dust has certainly settled somewhat, but we're not sure what exactly is going to transpire in the near term. So fingers crossed. I do want to mention that the biggest loser of this crash, Terra, has announced today that there will be a hard fork into a new blockchain, which they dubbed Terra 2.0, and the voting process will begin on May 27th. So far, this proposal, I think, put forward by the founder of Terra, Do Kwon, has faced a pretty vehement opposition from the Terra community, as many people who have lost a big portion of their savings during the recent Luna price crash feel that they deserve to be properly compensated, but there seems to be no way around it. The ship has sailed, and I guess the general sentiment sees that there's little to no hope for the new chain. No matter what kind of effort terrorist builders put in making everyone believe the otherwise. So that was the brief market update for you guys. If you guys have not been following what's been going on in the past week, there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of desperation. But I guess we keep our head high and stay calm. Keep building. It's gonna be okay. So on the product side of things, I do have a pretty exciting change that I want to share with you all. Recently, we have renovated our homepage as well as the product pages. I know many of you know the big rebranding campaign we're doing with Mucho from Spain. The rebranding campaign is going very well, and so a lot of what you see on our website, it will be temporary, but we already have many users telling us that they absolutely love the changes that we made. And it's definitely easier, and especially if you're new to Solv and its products, it's easier to see what our products are about in specific ways you can benefit from it. So they absolutely love the change we made. And I personally really enjoyed it. So definitely check it out if you haven't. The website is solv.finance. Let us know your thoughts in Discord, and really importantly, things you can see getting improved for better. And because we really appreciate all kind of feedbacks from the community. All right, so enough of nothingness from me. Today we are incredibly excited to be joined by Yal Ithkowicz. I hope I have pronounced your name correctly. Yal. Great. So tell me where I can improve. Ithkowicz. Okay. I see. Thank you for correcting me. So Yal is the founder of DeepDAO. And we also have Tony Tam, the founder of Inc. Finance, of course, the co-founders of Solv Protocol, Ryan, Mike, and I think, is Will here? Will is not here yet? Oh, he'll probably be here in a little bit.
Something went wrong from Will, but yeah, I just invite Will.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hi, Will.
Yeah.
It's the first time that we three co-founders are all here.
I know. Yeah, it's definitely a full house. I'm really excited that you guys are all here today. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. I think gonna get into something.
Thank you, Johnny. Yeah,
definitely. We're all here to chill, to learn, and then to discuss the really exciting things that's happening on the blockchain, right? So I guess the topic of the day is a DAO financing landscape. I say landscape because with more DAOs getting built and thrive in the space, so is the need for a system of tools and utility platforms to service the growing needs of these DAOs. And that's precisely why we have invited a Deep DAO platform that provides an in-depth view of DAOs in the space, the actions and related individuals across the ecosystem, as well as Ink Finance, which is a suite of tools designed to empower DAOs to govern and finance themselves. I've personally chatted with Tony earlier this week about the protocol and the technology behind Ink Finance, and was just really fascinated by what they're building. So we're going to get into that in just a little bit, but I do want to start with Deep DAO. I'm really excited to learn about Deep DAO in this meeting. This is the first time that Yao joined our community call, and it's the first time me personally speak with Al. So I definitely expect to learn quite a bit from your protocol and the partnership that Solv and Deep DAO is building. So welcome, Yao. Yeah, sure. Right. Right. Yeah, definitely. Like, I do want to touch upon Terra just for just a little bit before we get into Deep DAO, because I really confirm like everything you just said. I actually have been following Terra, their platform, and like everything that's been going on. It's been crazy week in the crypto world, especially those people who lost money. They have been coming up with like all kinds of proposals to try to revive the ecosystem. A lot of them suggested burning the Luna token to restabilize, to repack the US Terra, the UST. With earlier Anchor protocols, 20% APR. Really got a lot of people on the ship, and then now people are kind of rising up against this symbol, like the symbol of power that is Dogecoin, and then this a bunch of validators and developers and protocols that are already in the Terra system. I think there we can really see like this power dynamic between the two groups. That on one hand, the Dogecoin is like, okay, he made a proposal on what can be changed to the ecosystem, which is forking, and then you have a bunch of people. They are making proposals, and they are putting up the voting, to try to change the really general direction the Terra is moving forward. So I think it's really interesting. Really, like you can see the active democracy really in practice. You can literally see it. So I'm just curious. I guess I'm really curious what's gonna happen for Terra ecosystem. I guess no one knows, but I'm really inspired by what the community is doing to save the ecosystem. I think the DAO governance is definitely a big part of it. So
the ability of people to do things together is
Yeah.
Crypto, to my mind, in this regard at least, is introducing the financial element and the fact that you can actually quantify things. And
Yeah.
you can quantify things and you get an amazing view into it. The transparency element is huge. And this is really where we come at DeepDAO. I can say a few words about myself in this context, if you will, about my journey.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
So I've been in software product for some 20 years, both in the US and Israel. Worked at Apple at one point and some other companies. And I was also an activist, so I was involved in several communities. And I saw with my own eyes, how good intentions, like all these communities wanted to decentralize before the word even existed. People wanted to have everybody's voice heard and to mine the wisdom of the crowd, even before these words became buzzwords. It's age-old communities and active communities. And I was involved in some of those, and I saw with my own eyes and with my own experience how, despite the good intentions, communities devolved to become held in the power of 2 or 3 or 4 people. A small group pretty much always took charge and became dominant. And that caused communities to deteriorate because the activists, the people who expected their voice to be heard, felt ignored and left. And some of these people were my friends, and some of these people were myself. I got into a position of power in some of these communities, and I learned the seduction of power and the fact that when you're in power, you don't want to give it up. You want to make it stronger. And this was upsetting for me because I felt that we're missing the point here, that there's a system-wide problem. And I stopped being an activist and just continued on my life. And then in 2017, I started, I came into crypto, and in early 2018, I read the first DAO platform's white papers. And I immediately felt that this technology has the potential to solve the problem that I saw within communities, that this is exactly the type of thing that we were looking for. And so I joined the first big DAO that was around, which is Genesis Alpha by DAOstack. Started interacting with people, voted, created proposals, and finally I wanted to see an explorer. I wanted to really understand governance in the deepest way possible and in the deep way that blockchains allow. So I created a proposal, got some play money from the DAO, and wrote the DeepDAO POC myself, really to see what's going on there. And then the community was very, very, very supportive, and we started adding DAOs and adding platforms, and here we are. So this is really our mission. Our mission is to understand governance in a deeper way and to enable people to make smart decisions, make informed decisions about what happens in their DAOs, in their communities.
That was really awesome. I think your response is very inspiring. I personally had no idea that the way you started your career, your project was related to you being, you personally being an activist. And I think, of course, when we build a project on blockchain, our motivations can come from different sources, and I think it's always really inspiring to hear, especially as a DAO creator or DAO platform, this data-driven platform creator. You personally come from a background that is like really just it's visceral, right? It's pushing you to, I guess, provide the best kind of source of information for everyone in space, so they can, so their process of participating in DAOs can be more feasible, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like they say, try to solve problems that you face yourself. So
Exactly.
here we are.
Yeah. Like things always get done more easily if you make it personal, as they say, right?
Yeah, and you know the consequences of what happens if you don't solve these problems. So
Right.
it
Exactly.
helps you understand the domain for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I have a list of questions here, but I just think that I want to make the space like a free, I guess just a really free space for everyone to all the speakers here to join in anytime, to jump in and and interact with each other. But I will have a list of questions to sort of guide the flow of the dialogue. But definitely feel free to jump in, especially Mike, Ryan, and Tony. And Will, I definitely want to hear you and Tony talk about the technology, the specific technology of building the DAO infrastructure in the second part. I look forward to it. Okay, so I do think a lot of listeners here are not exactly sure what DAO is, and here I guess specifically a blockchain-based DAO works. So Eyal, could you just give us like a brief overview of what is a blockchain-based DAO and how does it work, and how is it different really from a traditional organization?
Sure. So really, historically, I mean 3 years, there has been several answers to that, and still you can answer in many ways. But to me, trying to be the most inclusive, to find the most inclusive answer is that a DAO is a group of people that do things together for a common cause, and they manage assets together on the blockchain. So really, any group, if you look at Deep DAO, you find many use cases for DAOs, and they're growing all the time. I mean, 2 years ago, DeFi DAOs did not even exist, but there were already hundreds of DAOs going on. And now DeFi DAOs are very large, and something like Terra is happening, and the community is involved. So groups of people can be either small or large. And the point is that they manage their assets together. And when you do that on the blockchain, there are two things happening. Of course, you get the trustless effect that blockchains have, and you can manage money without knowing people personally, because there is some. We all know that. And the second thing is that there is unprecedented transparency. You can see exactly what's going on. If money leaves the treasury of a DAO, you know where it went. And if you dig deeper into the governance, you know why it went there, and who created the proposal, and who voted on it, yes or no. And the whole process is visible for you.
The transparency. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Transparency is huge. And so this is one of the biggest things. It's people do things together, and they do it transparently.
Awesome,
I can go
awesome.
on and on. I can go on and on and on for hours. But just
I have no doubt. Yeah. I have no doubt. Yeah. So just to give us a brief idea of the scale of the DAO ecosystem, I know like most other Web3 technologies, DAOs as a form of organization are still in the experimental phase, despite the explosive speed of development pace at which it develops. But as data-driven platform. Could you give us a few metrics to understand just how large the DAO ecosystem is and how fast it's growing?
Yeah, for sure. So again, you have to put it in a historical perspective, but let's look at the current numbers. So there are almost $10 billion managed by DAOs. And it's interesting that it's still experimental, okay? It's an experiment with $10 billion, not experimenting with 50 or with smaller numbers. It's an experiment with huge amounts of money. So DAO treasuries manage almost $10 billion right now. The number was actually something like 16 billion in January before the market started going down. There are 1.7 million governance token holders in the DAOs listed on our platform. And that means that there are almost 2 million people who are eligible to vote in a DAO. Many of them in many DAOs, but at least in one DAO. And there are over 600,000 people who are actually voters or proposal creators. So the entire scope of governance is about 650,000 people actively voting and almost 2 million people who have the right to vote. And these numbers are growing all the time. Even when the market is going down, you can see red in the size of treasury, but the number of people who are eligible to vote and the number of actual voters is continuously going up. And just a few numbers of the level of activity, you can see that there are over 3 million votes all time in the last 2-3 years. That's a huge number of votes already.
Okay, really?
Of people in DAOs and managing billions of dollars.
Yeah, the figure sounds very, incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't realize the number were that large. Really? Yeah, yeah, it's gonna get bigger and bigger.
Go to Deep DAO. Follow it growing on a daily basis.
I already am.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah. Tell us. So where do you usually get your data from? So how does it work?
Okay, so we get our data from over 20 sources, 20 external APIs and sources. The governance data usually comes directly from Ethereum, and for Treasury we're using several APIs. They're all listed on our site in the FAQ section. So it's actually quite a big effort for collecting everything and putting it together into one coherent picture.
I see. So is it right to say like 1,000 individuals when they have needs, let's say when they want to find a DAO that they're interested in contributing, or they simply want to explore the DAO ecosystem, they could come to your platform and then explore different modules and sections that caters to their interest?
Yeah, definitely. There's almost 5,000 DAOs listed on DeepDAO. Of them, we're enriching. So we have a research and listing team, and they're enriching many of these. Over 1,000 are already enriched, and that means that you can get a description to tell you what's going on in the DAO, why is this DAO there, and what has it been doing, and get a link to every social platform or GitHub or anything that is involved in this DAO. And then, of course, you can also dive deeper and see the governance and, in many cases, the treasury of the DAO. And there's a high level of data. I don't want to get to it right this minute, but you can spend long minutes on Deep DAO going into one DAO and also going into personal profiles. So you can get a full history of, for example, my participation in DAOs. You can see the proposal that created Deep DAO on my profile. And this gives you, so you get the information both on the DAO, on the organization, and on the people that are involved in it. And this gives you a whole, the picture of the whole ecosystem.
Beautiful, beautiful. I do want to add
and one more. Sorry,
go ahead.
one more thing about finding DAOs. So you can obviously search. There's a simple search widget which you can search the name of the DAO if you know it, and you can also search any Ethereum address to find people. And then you also have categories. So there are, I think, 11 categories of DAOs. The biggest ones are, in terms of treasury at least, are DeFi and NFTs, of course, and DAO tools. DAO tools, the topic of this call is a growing segment of DAOs. Many DAOs are creating DAO tools, in other words. There's also a lot of gaming DAOs. Gaming is a rising use case. Investment DAOs, of course, investors are a classic use case for DAOs. And there's an up and coming category that is happening in recent months, and that's greater good political DAOs. So just groups of activists who are working together in a DAO, fundraising or spending their funds for a cause. One cause or another. A big one was Ukraine DAO, for example.
Well, knowing your personal history, I think those political DAOs definitely have found a perfect place to home their organizations.
We do have a warm heart to that, but we also try to be neutral. So we take all DAOs.
Yeah.
We don't
You don't discriminate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so you did mention different categories in the DAO tooling, because I would, like, earlier today I was on the website. I was exploring. I was just really impressed how many different types of DAOs exist on the blockchain. It's not just one type of DAO, but I do realize that the DAO financing or treasury management is really emerging very quickly in the DAO ecosystem. Based on your experience, are there a lot of like DAO financing tools getting listed in Deep DAO in the future? Like, how significant is the growth?
I think it's the one category that is growing the fastest. And I think it's natural. You're managing a lot of money. You want to have tools to do that. So, for example, you want a tool to manage payroll. You want to pay your contributors. And sometimes these are hundreds of people or dozens of people. So you want to pay a lot of people. You need tools for that. You want tracking of all these. So you need accounting apps. And we've spoken with a couple of those recently. And they're happening. There are a lot of tools for just following the money in that regard. And then you also want to diversify your treasury. You don't want to hold all your money in your own token. So there are tools to do that, and there are tools to swap money to make deals between DAOs. Again, based mostly on your tokens. And then things that are touching that, like insurance and dispute resolution, all of these are meant to manage treasuries in DAOs, and of course, things like Gnosis Safe, the actual treasury with the multisig and all that. And we see a bunch of those also in other chains, by the way, not only Ethereum and L2s. There is a strong DAO movement on Solana. And all the substrates are DAOs, and so tools need to be ported or developed specifically for these chains. And I should also mention the Near platform, the Near chain. So there are tools being built over there. So yeah, I think financial tools are big, and everybody in the ecosystem is early stage, and so many times when you speak with people and you ask them awesome projects, you ask them what's your business model, and they're like, oh, we don't have one yet. But the financial tools have a business model. They're more advanced in this way. Everybody knows where they're going and how would they make money. So that's another interesting. I guess it shows that really financial tools are more advanced right now.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, I do realize, like, being in the Solv ecosystem, I do have I know I'm biased, I could be biased, but I can definitely see like how financing tools are growing particularly fast, just because how like numerically oriented or goal oriented they are. They have a very specific goal. Sometimes they want to do the fundraising, they want to do insurance, they just go for the number. And it makes achieving their objectives really feasible when you have a feasible goal to do that. At this point, I do want to kick it to Ryan. How does I know that Solv Protocol just got listed in DeepDAO as a treasury under the treasury and DeFi category. I think it's really accurate. A place to put it. But so Ryan, so how does Solv fit into the DAO financing landscape that is expanding so quickly with all the products it's building right now?
Oh, sure. So yeah, so firstly, it's quite our pleasure to be listed on DeepDAO, because we see DeepDAO as a portal, a portal of the DAO toolings, because a good tool always need to be promoted by a good channel. So like DeepDAO is such kind of a portal that we think so. a so that's a pleasure, and so in terms of the DAO financing, just like you discussed before, I think it's quite necessary and very important for all the DAOs to consider. It's a kind of topic and also kind of tooling, because all the DAOs, they do have their needs on take on debt or like manage the treasury in a very decent way to grow the assets, kind of things. So what we are doing, what we are building, the products we have push out are all a focus on those of the areas like vesting voucher, like like bond voucher, convertible voucher, and like vesting voucher is very interesting because a EL just introduced that there are some some addresses which are the governance kind of participants of the governance on some protocol. So like a vesting vouchers is a really good tool for all the projects or all the DAOs to attract a lot of a kind of governancer at the early stage. Like for Solv Protocol, we have a conducted a IVO before, so we sell some vesting voucher to like thousands of users. So now, although we haven't launched or listed our token on any DEX or SEX yet, but we got over 6,000 vouchers holders already. So there are over 6,000 kind of potential voters in the future. So and once we listed our token on DEX, maybe we can get more and more kind of a token holders. So we always deem token holders is a very kind of important a number of figures for all the DAOs, because they are all the potential voters which can help you governance your DAO, your DAO protocol, your protocol and your DAO, right? So that's the first the something about our vesting voucher, and the second one is the bond voucher. We all know that a lot of DAOs, they now DeFi is dominated by like collateral financing. So if you want to take on that, you have to over collateralize some assets, and then you will be allowed to borrow against those of the assets. But the point here is that why not allow some very kind of a credit-worthy DAO to take on debts without over-collateralization, right? They do have credits. They have a large amount of the assets in the treasury, and they have some sustainable kind of revenue. So why not allow them to do that? So I think we need to help them to take on that and raise some debt capital. So that's why we built Bond Voucher. So if you take a look at these two products, they are a kind of very useful and efficient tool for all the DAOs, especially for DAOs a financing. And a deep DAO has a precise wrap up for Solv when they list a Solv protocol on their website. I really appreciate that. Let me read it to you all. So they said our Solv protocol is a platform for minting and managing financial NFTs and silos of digital assets tradable as vesting, bond, or other financial rights. It is designed to serve codeless, flexible setup for typical DAO operations, including fundraising, community building, asset allocation, and more. I think it's really precise, So even though from our official it's difficult for us to find out such kind of precise wrap up for our product lines. So yeah, that's it. That's from me, all from me.
Thanks. Shout out to Noam, who's writing these descriptions. Great job.
Yes, really good job. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really really beautifully written. Usually I take up a lot of content writing for Solv Protocol as well. When I saw that bio or description, it's just so neat. I was like, man, I wish I could write that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell these guys.
So real quick, it just popped up in my head. So when I'm not sure if Inc. Finance is currently listed in DeepDAO. If not, perhaps in the near future it will be. But for like DAO financing tools on DeepDAO, if say like a DAO got like someone contributing to a DAO, right? It comes to DeepDAO and say, okay, there's just thousands of DAOs to look at, and then even under each category, there's like hundreds, if not like 1,000 DAOs. If the DAO financing ecosystem grows larger in the future, is it not going to be like a little difficult to navigate? Do you have some kind of like a mechanism to make, say, someone who has a very specific needs in terms of DAO governance to find the specific DAO that will suit their needs? This question is for Yao.
Yeah, so one way is really to search, and you would have to do some searching. But we're also developing tools for doing all sorts of segmentations so that you can find certain peoples, like find the DAOs that have a lot of governance in the past month, for example, or find DAOs that have over 50 people who are involved on a regular basis. And you need this not just for finding the DAO that you're interested in. If you're coming from the outside, you need that at all levels. Which DAO do you invest in? You want to invest in DAOs that have strong governance and not necessarily centralized. Or some people would want to invest in centralized governance. I'm not going to judge them. But you need to do that in all levels, and beyond that, we're developing textual searches, so you'll be able to put in more free-form searches and find the DAO that you're interested in, and also comparing DAOs. So if you found, let's say you found 5 investment DAOs, you're an investor and you want to put in money to pool resources with other people like you. So you can search for investment DAOs and then segment that. Right now there are maybe 10, 15, so you can go one by one. But 3 years from now, there may be hundreds, or in fact, there are probably already hundreds or thousands of DAOs that focus on investment. Then you would need to have more advanced searches, and we're developing that.
Very cool to know. Yeah, really cool. Does anyone else here have a question for EL about Deep DAO and how it works and the general DAO ecosystem?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh yeah, definitely. Shoot, Ryan.
I think maybe some of our communities would be interested in a like WAN token, for Deep DAO. Yeah.
I cannot respond to that.
Okay.
We do think
No worries.
we do think it makes sense to have a token, especially for data verifications. So and for scaling really, because no central team can scale to thousands and millions of DAOs. Then you want the community to contribute, and in our world, when the community contributes, it's usually happening with tokenomics, which I think totally makes sense because you reward people with the token, and they also own part of the platform. So this is the flywheel. This is the way it works with Web3. So I think it makes sense to have a token for Deep DAO. When is it? I cannot comment on that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, thanks for the answer.
Okay, if nobody else has a question, thank you, Yao, for really educating us about your DAO system and your platform. I'm really excited about your project, and you seem to have a very strong, capable team to do whatever is necessary to help DAO governance less friction and more feasible. You guys are great. Please keep building, and I'll keep an eye on your dashboard from time to time to try to spot interesting DAO tools and people in the space. So thank you for being here. You are welcome to stay. Yeah, you are welcome to stay and join the next part of the discussion. But if you need to go, it's perfectly fine. But
thank you.
At any rate, thank you. Yeah.
Just one more word. Thank you very much for having me. It was great. Great discussion.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to doing more integrations with Solv. I think the Solv product for rewarding DAO contributors with NFTs holding DAO tokens is a great tool for DAOs, and I'm looking forward to actually integrating with it.
Yeah, sounds
good. Yeah, definitely. Yep, we look forward to it. Yep. Thank you, Eyal, again. One more time. Yeah.
Thanks for taking time. Okay.
Thank you, Eyal.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Great. So moving on, we have Tony Tan. Tony, did you figure out your speaking arrangement yet? Could you do a microphone test? Okay. I'm not sure if Tony can hear us.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, this is Camille. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Camille. Yeah, so what happened to Tony?
Not sure what's happened to Tony's microphone, but if you have any questions, we can continue on the discussion on this AMA.
Excellent. We appreciate you. You come to the rescue. And in the meantime, I really hope Tony can figure out the microphone. And then, I definitely look forward to speaking with Camille about Solv and Ink Finance and their collaboration.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Yeah, definitely. So welcome, Camille. Could you, could you briefly introduce your project, Ink Finance, to our community and your team? Yeah,
sure. Firstly, I would like to introduce myself, as Tony is the CEO of Ink Finance. I'm one of the co-founder and the head of BD. So Ink Finance is a governance toolset for DAOs. We enabling metaverse and gamified ecosystem to establish governance economy, manage internal finance, and connect with the DeFi investors. So regarding on our
Anyone
team,
here now?
oh yeah,
Hey,
Oh,
Tony.
go on.
Glad
okay.
finally you made it.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I don't know what happened. I'm so
Okay,
sorry
let
for
me
the
finish the
delay.
It's all
question,
good.
and
You
I will
made it
hand over
right on
to
time. Right on time.
I actually
So
have been in the call for the entire past 50 minutes. I listened.
And
I heard everything.
okay, yeah, that's a little weird because you can hear us, but we cannot hear you. But at least
I
now
was
we're
trying
good.
to. I was trying to say hi to ER. Then I realized he didn't hear me. No one heard me.
No worries, no worries. Okay, great. So we have one more person from the project, so we can definitely enrich this dialogue further. That's great. So sorry, Camille, if you're not finished, you can
Camille,
proceed.
go on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting.
sure, I will continue to answer Johnny's question. So
Sure.
regarding our team, our core team is a natural combination of relevant backgrounds. So we have people including the traditional finance, fintech, such as Tony, and we also have layer one engineers and crypto influencers such as myself. So we are a DAO financial SaaS. We linking assets or originators who need finance and DeFi investors who provides it. Johnny.
Great, thank you for the brief introduction. I was wondering, like, could you talk a little bit about like what sorts of benefits the DAOs that Inc. Finance is providing to organizations that want to start a blockchain based DAO, especially like for a non Web3 business.
If I may, Camille.
Yes, please.
Well, I think first of all they will have to embrace an entirely different business model in which many boundaries inherent to the traditional models will be torn down, right? Thanks to the features of the blockchains. And secondly, the governance process can be as transparent and democratic and rigorous as they desire it to be. Right? But then the governance framework itself can evolve with the organizations themselves. So constantly be driven by common interest of the entire community, which provides a very efficient feedback loop. If you operate in the traditional world, your community user feedback is not that fluent in hitting your management decision, management layer and all the way up to higher up. And with a Web3 based operation, that feedback loop is there, and the speed of a feedback is instant. So these are the key benefits that when we want to say encourage the non-Web3 business to seriously consider moving their operation on chain to fully enjoy these benefits. But last but not least, Web3 offers infinite flexibility in terms of financing in ways that are not even imaginable or feasible in the off-chain traditional world. And so Inc. Finance strives to provide the tool set to address some of these barriers if they are barriers to help non-Web3 based business to move on chain.
That was a great answer. To quickly summarize what you just said, I think I caught transparency, efficiency, and I think lastly you mentioned flexibility. Right? Those are the name of the game for a blockchain based DAOs, and I think that's generally like the advantage. The advantage of moving to blockchain that a non Web3 business should consider before migrating their business to the blockchain. So I do want to ask you, Tony, what are some of the roadblocks or barriers faced by businesses that want to deliver products and services over blockchain? Because you mentioned the pros, right? And now how about like the cons?
Right. Categorically speaking, I think that there are about three major ones. Right. The first is the aforementioned overhaul of a business model. It requires an economic design that takes into consideration of incentives and responsibility redistribution for different participants. And if you think of traditional boundaries between stakeholders and management and workers, that the producers and the agents and the consumers, etc., these boundaries should be redrawn or even entirely erased, right, to take full advantage of decentralization and tokenization. So that is a major challenge if you don't sort of subscribe to decentralization and tokenization. And the second major hurdle is the adaptation to a blockchain-based operating environment. Getting an entire ecosystem used to wallets, different blockchains, the gas fees, so on and so forth, can be very challenging. And many technical infrastructures on blockchain, to be very honest, are much inferior to that of the maturity of the Web2 technologies in terms of performance. Therefore, how to strike a delicate balance between on-chain and off-chain operations. That is, a second major challenge. And then comes the governance integrity. And in the traditional world, it's a trust-based system, right? People, charters are written and the resolutions are written on paper. There's centralized organizations to enforce these rules. And the blockchain is a trustless system. So governance integrity and the issue of civil attacks and all sorts of malicious acts against your organization must be addressed. So in the decentralized setting, DAO is a form of collaboration, balancing the need of transparency and efficiency with that of competence and accountability, right? That, very native form of a wallet-based identity is definitely insufficient for this purpose. So that, anyone who's moving off-chain, on-chain should think about these things. That these are the major three categories I can think of. And I think Ink Finance is positioned to answer these challenges with a very comprehensive toolset, right? From which user DAOs can pick the most suitable components that fit their unique circumstances. So all functionalities provided by Ink are delivered through a no-code user experience, so you don't feel the technical barrier of entering. And so that we want to help a DAO quickly set up and gradually evolve into its maturity.
That was really brilliantly answered. I mean, at this point, I really want to hear like either one of the Solv co-founders. Like, what's your guys' take on the road, the barriers faced by business that want to operate on the blockchain, and particularly what Solv is doing to solve those pain points? Does anyone, one of you, want to speak up about this?
Johnny, your sounds a bit in and out. Could you? Yeah, I think DAO governance is another big topic, just as a DAO financing. And like Ink Finance is a really good kind of tool sets, a suite of tool for both of the area, including DAO financing and DAO governance. So yeah, just like DeepDAO, we can take a look at their website. They are mostly focused on two things. One is voting, so it's about governance. The second one is financing. So yep, I think for Solv, yeah, we are more focused on kind of financing, and it's something just like a financial instruments. It's more about financial instruments. So if you so Solv Protocol is more like a financial instruments supermarket. So you can buy financial instruments, or you can produce some a financial instruments and sell it on the on this market. So that's the position of Solv. But that's how we just tap into DAO financing kind of area to help DAOs to meet the pain points on financing. But in terms of the Ink Finance, I think it's quite complete. It's quite complicated and efficient tools. They really just like Ding Talk for traditional companies. They really help the DAOs to build a very efficient kind of economy and help them to conduct financing. So they take care of the whole process, not just the final process. They take over like from the first step to the final step. So I think it's really interesting, and it's quite complementary with Solv, because we can act as a supermarket of the bonds, or like vesting voucher kind of a marketplace, and Ink act as a kind of a tool sets, or like CRM kind of system, or kind of DAO tooling system for the DAOs to to finish or complete all the process of the in terms of the governance. And so I think, yeah, that's my opinion.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Tony. Let's move on with Ink Finance products, right? So and technology. Earlier, I was talking with Tony, and we covered like during this meeting, we were talking about Ink Envelope, this really signature product that Ink Finance has created, and I have to say it really blew my mind. But I cannot say I completely understand like in the full aspects how it works because I'm not a tech guy. But so Tony, can you briefly talk about like Ink Envelope and like exactly how business moves their assets from on-chain from off-chain to the blockchain, or even across blockchains?
Thank you. I mean, this is, yeah, as you said, it's a bit technical, but I want to, describe it as non-tech as possible. So Ink Envelope is really a wrapping technology. What it wraps is information and assetting, particularly information about the asset and how the asset actually come about to be financed. The goal is to achieve maximum portability and scalability. Right? So as its name suggests, an ink envelope can package structured data about an asset, including, how it was used in the system, how it was originated, and what's the governance structure around those assets. It can even wrap another ink envelope, or the technology jargon is called nesting. Right? The profound benefits, I think, are really twofold. One, it makes asset description on Ink platform very independent. So we are a multi-chain system, right? There are numerous ways of expressing a so-called non-fungible asset, right? You have ERC 721, 3252, 1155, 1400. I can't even count the numbers, right? So as a very portable protocol, and Ink Finance must not be locked into any one of them or a set of them. Instead, Ink Finance would encode all the structured data that describes these assets, them being from a heterogeneous blockchain or an enterprise blockchain or even a corporate cloud, etc. Right? It then can provide an unpacking interface for user protocols such as Solv Finance, right, to parse and extract appropriate useful parts from the envelope to make any form of non-fungible assets on the local blockchain that's suitable to their ecosystem. So that's packing and unpacking. And two, the ink envelope is literally very much like a real world physical envelope. It can be carried and delivered by messengers. So ink envelope can be serialized. The technical word is serialized, meaning you turn the structured data into a non-structured, a string of 010101s, right? And be transported via any third-party cross-chain messaging systems, such as Super Oracle, dBridge, whatever, right? Then we can deliver this non-structured string of data, serialized data, to a destination blockchain. Then upon receiving it, Ink facility on the other end will deserialize it to restore its complete data structure on the receiving. Then the result is that any protocol sitting on the target network can see with a total transparency how this asset was originated and how it was governed on its native blockchain or in the real world. So Ink envelope literally makes governance reputation and the governance competence immutable beyond an ecosystem that's originally from. Right, so I think one of our institutional investors gave it a pretty good name. It calls Ink envelope a programmable asset form. I think Will, you definitely can appreciate this feature, right? So let's say when I deliver this package of data representing that financial instrument that Solv wants to sell, it comes from Solana through this messaging system. It gets delivered on Solv's network. And Will, it's up to you to unpackage it because it restores the entire data structure with the dictionary entries and all that. You can make it into 721, right? And I don't have to rely on 721. You happen to be 720. Someday you can do 1155. It's the same package will be delivered to you. You can open it up with the same interface to extract any elements that you think it's relevant to your ecosystem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To me, it's very interesting. I'm particularly interested in this product called Ink Envelope. Not only because you use structure, but also it reminds me the product we are developing. Will is leading our team in developing a new voucher called portfolio voucher and tranche voucher. So we also targeting so-called structural finance. Though I know this two structure don't mean the same thing, but we can see great potential that we can collaborate. For example, we can use Ink envelope to wire our vouchers to port our vouchers to another blockchain. That will be much easier for us. Otherwise, we need to deploy a whole set of new code to another blockchain, and then to do some tricky things to lock this to freeze the vouchers in this chain and activate the vouchers in that chain. That will be tedious. Maybe by using Ink the envelope, we can make our voucher much more, much more
Portable.
Yes, portable, and yes, that's great. That's great. That's great product. We would definitely would like to look into that. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much for the elaboration. From attack to attack.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really cool. I want to hear from Will, like as this chief architect of the ERC 3525 token standard. When token was sorry, not token, Tony was talking about ink envelope, right? Ink envelope. All I was thinking is, gee, this sounds so much like ERC 3525 token standard, right? Could you maybe from as a in a least technical way explain to us, like, what do you think of this technology, and how do you compare ink envelope with voucher?
Yeah, okay. Thanks for joining. I think that Solv Vouchers and ink envelope has some common aspects as well as some differences. So let me first introduce the thoughts of Solv Vouchers. There are mainly two aspects. The first is that Solv Vouchers and ERC 3525 focuses on the internal structure of digital assets, because we focuses on financial instruments, each financial instrument has its different internal financial structures, such like bonds and futures and investing plans and etc. They all have different internal financial structures. So Solv Vouchers providing a tool set to let users to easily create these financial instruments with quite different internal structures. We have a set of smart contracts to describe these different internal financial structures for digital assets. And at this aspects, we share some thoughts with ink envelope, because we all know that the transparency and flexibility are very important to digital assets, just as Tony said. Ink envelope also focuses on these aspects, This is what Solv Vouchers do, but with more focus on smart contract structures. This is the first aspects I want to introduce Solv Vouchers. And the second is that Solv Vouchers focuses on the trading procedure of of digital assets. Although these many financial instruments have different internal structures, their trading models are quite same, or say quite alike. They all shares the OTC trading models rather than AMM models. Just like you can trade NFT arts on OpenSea or like something like that. So we believe that these complex financial instruments need the OTC trading models rather than AMM models. So we focus on their common trading procedures of all these financial instruments. So as a conclusion, we more focuses on the digital assets themselves rather than the operations or information transformation or say transportations cross chains. From my understanding, ink envelope more focuses on these aspects, the cross chain information transportation and cross chain operations of these digital assets. Am I correct, Tony? And so
yes. Well, I just only want to add that you from your perspective, when you define a financial instrument, whatever the financial instruments or quantitative features, right? It's a risk parameters, everything that's quantitative and numbered. You can think of that these numbers are originated by our DAO users with a point and click, right? They just do point and click. They want that when they want to set up a financing scheme, they really just do the click and the point. And at the end, they say, great, our community has voted to borrow $2 million in this way. That's the coupon, that's the maturity, that's blah, blah, blah. These are the financial parameters about that instrument. Just realize that I'm not burdening Solv Finance to do that. These users are using our systems to generate these parameters. And I just deliver these parameters in the structured way to Solv. Then you can extract it. That's, I think, our beauty, because you can think of us as preparing the data and preparing the communication layer. And you just need to say, suck it out and rebuild. If the information is not there, obviously it doesn't pass your muster. It will never get listed in your platform, right? So those guys who want to get money from you, those guys who want to fit in your voucher program, they need to provide all the necessary information. You can think of us as an information collecting front end, but it sits on a different blockchain, right? You think about it someday, if we are on Avalanche, if we are on Algorand, you don't have to worry about how to collect that data from Algorand. Who knows, right? They're just there. They do their thing. They say, voila, there's $2 million of fundraising. I want to raise it in the form that's in the vouchers, in the voucher structure. And we will collect all that data and transport the data in the envelope, literally delivered in the hand of you. And your smart contract, you call our interface to open up this envelope and extract all the pieces that fits your requirement. So I think we complement each other fairly, perfectly in that way.
Yes, I totally agree. And as Tony said, actually, I can think that ink envelope are the information source and operation source for digital assets. You say Solv Vouchers, and Solv Vouchers provide the financial structures and trading procedures for the DAO users, right? So we can cooperate seamlessly.
You will turn it in the tradable format.
Yeah.
And allow me to add a point here. If I am correct, this ink envelope product is a general purpose tool. It doesn't subject to DAO treasure management only. Am I correct?
You are very correct. I mean, this goes way back to our root. Because I myself, Dan, and Jason here, we're all hardcore financial engineers. Right? I spent 20 years, trading derivatives, and sometimes I'm an engineer trading. I'm a double E. I'm a computer engineering a major. I just somehow got into finance. Right? Our project started out as a hardcore financial engineering project. We become what we become today is through, various events that position us today as a financial solution protocol. But we were at the very beginning a very hardcore, sort of, a very low level infrastructure project. So you are absolutely right. It isn't just a tool to deliver governance data. It is a general purpose, sort of a metadata generation and the serializing, deserializing protocol. It's a very important part of our program.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, that's why some of our guys call this thing a programmable form of asset description. I think that's pretty accurate. We're not one of our institutional investors dubbed it that way. But thank you for pointing out.
You're welcome, and it's very impressive. I think it's a missing part of the current blockchain infrastructure. I think our team definitely should look into what you're doing, what you're building. I believe we have very good opportunity to collaborate. Yeah.
Agree. Totally agree.
Thank you.
It was a beautiful discussion, guys. We are running out of time, and since we have gravitated so much on the technical side of things in our discussion, I do want to. We still have some time to close with one last question, and this question is for both Tony and Ryan. And if Camille wants to jump in, please feel free. My question is, how is your product, and then this includes Ink and Solv Protocol. How is your protocol helping DAOs or any projects struggling in the ongoing bear market?
Actually, if I may, I think it's bear market is where bear market is a good environment to test the wills and the guts of any operation, right? And DAOs included. So I think one of the most important takeaway is that no DAO should at this environment think about floating their meta tokens to fetch the benefit of a bubble, right? So that is not going to happen. However, the DAO is a very different kind of organization in a sense. It's built upon its reputation. It's built upon its competence. So even in the bull market, it's a bit of nonsense to say somebody is bullish on DAO. To say somebody's bullish on DAO, it's equivalent of saying someone is bullish on LLC. It's just a form of organization, right? So in a bear market, I think any DAO should really set aside the idea of saying, because the DAO is hot, just let go of that idea and instead focus on what useful operational assets they can generate from their ecosystem. If you can generate valuable operational assets, then Ink can help you find the liquidity and Solv will place you, right? So build reputation, right? With its governance competence, build credit, right? And also do your eternal finance, do it in a robust and a transparent way to show your ability to vitalize its own economy. Then you can really use small scale and flexible structure products to gain finance, right? From very targeted DeFi investors. Instead of saying, I want to sell this token valued at $200 million, don't do that. That's not what the bear market can offer you. However, in the bear market, Solv Inc. can solve your problem by giving you financing on the $3 million deal, on the $2 million deal. Use those flexibilities to really grow your ecosystem and to build your competence, right? So all of this requires a level of rigorous and transparent, governance. You need to win the hearts of retail investors, particularly in the bear market. I think that's a very important value add for systems like Ink, for systems like Solv. We focus on structured solutions instead of saying, voila, here's your 200 million, token sale. That's not going to happen in a bear market. But this is also an environment to test whether you are trying to catch the hot wave of DAO or whether you really have a DAO that can generate assets and have operational assets that can really have usage. I think that's, if anything, that will be my two pennies on the table.
Thank you, Tony. Ryan, do you want to talk about Solv?
Yes, I think I have introduced a little bit before yeah, on some other question. So yeah, maybe I will add a few points like a something that we are working on for especially in terms of your question to help a projects or DAOs to live through the bear market, because for vesting voucher now recently we are promoting kind of vesting voucher airdrop. So it seems a more and more DAOs they need some new kind of a people or users to participate into the governance and also to play with their products. So they want traffics, they want users. So then we will help them to like airdrop the allocation in the form of vesting voucher to help them to really attract some kind of a long-term holders of the DAOs. So that's something we want to help them because in the bear market, everyone only the fans would want to hold your kind of allocation and stay with you from a long-term perspective. So that's about our vesting voucher. And for bond voucher, recently, as you know, we have helped Izumi raise around $12 million in the past 2 weeks. So it seems, although in the bear market, but the DAOs do have their ability to take on debt, maybe like millions or tens of millions of dollars through our solution, through our bond voucher solution. So that's something we are doing to really help the DAOs to live through the bear market. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I would like also to aid my point here. I agree with Tony that the bear market is a good test to the idea of DAO. Actually, I'm reading the history of ancient Greek these days. You know that the democratic system of those Greek city states were tested by the Persian War. So actually, I believe that the bear market is a little bit like the war or some pressure test on post on the system. So we can see what type of DAO and what kind of institutional innovation can build really competitive DAOs. And maybe during this period of time, some DAOs can invent or make some institutional inventions and some tools. I think a project like Ink and Solv, we should look close to what they are doing and try to help them, try to build tools to support the most useful and most efficient governance innovations. And this might help them to make DAO a really successful social experiment in crypto, not only in crypto but also in human society. And I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. It was really inspiring when a topic such as DAO financing landscape get extended to the real fundamentals of our society, which is like what we can do to human civilizations, right? And then I think DAO is definitely a very effective in this day and age, especially in the age of Web3, is an effective channel through which projects like ours could contribute, like deliver real value to the society, and really hope, like bear market or not, if we keep building, stay calm and keep building, perfecting our products, we're going to see results. We're going to see the the real value that our products will provide to the space. So, all right. So we're. I do have more questions, but I apologize. We're running so behind on a schedule. I do want to close with a thank you to all of you, to Tony, Ryan, Mike, Camille, and Will, and Eyal, who's I think not here anymore. Thank you guys so much for coming onto our call today, and everyone in our community that showed up. Just a reminder that we have launched the Bitcoin Pizza Day today, and then participating. So one of the tasks is participating in this in this community call. And if you have not, we have extended the check-in time window by another 30 minutes to 3 p.m. UTC. You can still check in if you have not already. And thank you so much for joining us. Please enjoy the rest of the day or evening, and then we will see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Partners at
Thank you.
Finance, and thank you all the listeners.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you,
for
guys.
taking time, Tony
Yeah.
and Kevin. Okay, thank you guys, and
Thank you.
thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.